Good morning, garden friends. It is early August 2021, and I wanted to introduce you to our squash patch. Last autumn, we laid down a tarp and attempted to kill the grass. It wasn't down long enough. We should have left it even longer. But in the spring, we laid down compost, made some mounds, and planted squash. Now there's three types here. We have Boston marrow, we have the green striped cushaw, and we also have Algonquin squash. And I'm going to show you all three and talk about them. And then over here we have three types of yellow cherry tomatoes. And so I'm going to talk to you about those too. All right, so first up we have right here, you can see a green striped cushaw. I first had the cushaw in Virginia, where it is popularly grown because they have a huge problem there with squash bugs. Not that we don't have them here, but they have more generations down there because of the longer growing season. And the green striped cushaw is not the squash bugs or the squash vine borer's favorite plant. So it's very popular down south, and I fell in love with it. And so I started growing it here. Now you will find this in the fall in New England being sold as a decorative gourd. Not many people know that you can eat it and that it is absolutely delicious. I have a cranberry cushaw bread that I absolutely love. And so that's the cushaw. It is a Cucurbita mixta, I believe. It doesn't readily cross-pollinate with any other squashes because basically it's the only squash in its family. All right, we'll come back to the tomatoes, but I want to show you here because we have actually in one shot, we have the Boston marrow, we have a green striped cushaw, and over here we have the Algonquin squash. Okay, so the Boston marrow is a very old variety. It was supposedly given to somebody in Buffalo from one of the Indians. It made its way to Salem, and it grew well in this area, and that is why it is called the Boston marrow. It can vary from 15 to 50 pounds. And as you can see, this one is turning a nice orange. It was a paler yellow. It's getting ready to be harvested. You can see that the stem is dying off. So that'll stay right there. Now, the Algonquin is also from the Indians and grew in this area. It looks like an overgrown zucchini. You harvest it when the bottom starts to turn orange, and then when it cures, the whole thing will turn orange. And it's supposed to be very, very good for pies. So these are the three squash types that we are growing in our patch. I will show you one of the huge Boston marrows in a minute. Now this mess right here that we have staked on an old this came from a mattress. We have three types of cherry tomatoes. All of these, I don't know if you can see them because a lot of them are dying and drying up, but all of these buds are Barry's Crazy Cherry. That tomato just produces like mad, and I'm going to show you what it looks like because we have some, well, we have one that didn't get picked. This is a Barry's Crazy. So it's elongated, it's a pale yellow. It can become slightly darker if you leave it on the vine. But this was my favorite cherry tomato until I tried the Sun Golds. Now, I don't know if you can see in there. We've got some ripening. I came last night and picked them. They turn an orange color, and they are oh, look, right here. This is a Sun Gold. absolutely delicious tomato. It is a hybrid. It's the only hybrid cherry tomato that I'm growing, but that is the Sun Gold. And then the third type, let me see if I can find one. Yes, right here. This right here is a blonde Kampken, which is very German. It means little blonde child or little blonde girl. And so my intent was to have a taste test to see which of these wins. And hands down, it's the Sun Gold. People talk about it for a reason. It is the favorite of everybody for a reason. So, Berries Crazy just has a piece of my heart. I love this tomato, but I'm not sure if we'll grow it. We might end up just growing the Sun Golds. The blonde Kampkens, I'm not in love with. I don't know why everyone said they were fantastic, because they're just okay. I mean, they're not bad. I've never met a bad cherry tomato, but not my favorite. So those are the three that we are growing this year. Well, growing intentionally, I should say. Right here, we have a Moon and Stars watermelon. We have another Boston Marrow, and maybe you can see that that looks more yellow than the other one over there that is more orange. So this still has a ways to go. We have a couple Sugar Baby watermelons growing in there. But I wanted to show you this monster. Can you see how big that is? So again, that's turning orange. It's not there yet, but that should be ready pretty soon. The Boston Marrows are actually a pretty early ripening squash, so it shouldn't be too much longer. Now let me take you over here and show you what's going on during this mess. Okay, so we have 4 raised beds. You probably can't even see the 4th one. In the middle of the back too, I started a compost pile, just dumping our kitchen scraps. And from that compost pile grew this monster squash. And it took us a while to even figure out what kind of squash it was, because obviously they all look very similar when they're little. But I now know that this is a green kasha, which is great because I know that it's not going to cross-pollinate with any of the others that I'm growing. That's important because I wanted to save seeds. Now also resulting from our compost pile, we have cherry tomatoes. You can see right here, they're starting. I have no idea what kind they are. I know they are not a Berries Crazy because Berries just has way more blossoms than this. So, yeah, we'll see. I don't know. It's all going to be a surprise. And then maybe you can see in there, those are sweet potato leaves. So I grew my own sweet potato slips this year, and I had one sweet potato that wasn't doing anything. I thought it was rotted, so I threw it away, and now it's growing. So, yeah, I mean, I'm continuing to dump kitchen scraps here, so that's what it looks like underneath the squash plant. And I'm kind of excited because all of this is free food that was not grown at all. I haven't suckered the tomatoes. I haven't pruned them. The squash leaves, I think, are keeping them up off the ground, so they're growing pretty well. So I wanted to show you these squashes because we hadn't talked about them before. If you aren't composting, I highly suggest it because it's just fun to see what grows. It's not always ideal. As you can see, this squash plant has taken over. I think it's only one plant. It's completely taken over, and I'm trying my best to corral it within the confines of the boxes so that my husband can mow easier, but it kind of got away from us over here. All right. Hopefully I can come to you soon with some more tomato updates. They are just starting to ripen. We haven't had any tastings yet. I'm looking forward to that. But I will keep you posted on the tomatoes and also the squash. Happy growing!